Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa ummatihi ajma'een. Alhamdulillah, today we are in our session number 27, 27th session of Journey Through the Quran course this Ramadan. Subhanallah, how time flies. Yeah, 27th session already. Some have asked, why are your sessions not, um, earlier than the actual Ramadan fast? Well, I have answered this before. It's because we started earlier. We did not go by the moon sighting, whether it's local moon sighting or whichever. We did not go by that. We just started our first session on the 12th of April, regardless of when the moon sighting would be, because that would just complicate a lot of things for the ulama and the scholars and the shuyukh and the ustazah that we have booked for our talk. So just to keep it easy, we just fixed the dates with them, and we started on the 12th of April. So today is session number 27, although the fast is number 25. Today we have a very special guest with us, a special guest scholar, and she is a graduate of Jamia Al Karam over in Nottinghamshire. She studied there Arabic and Islamic studies. She graduated in the year 2013, way back now. After graduating, she has been involved in teaching in various roles and in various places as well. So she has continued to teach whatever she has learned. And alhamdulillah, this is a prophetic trait, to teach, to teach. So alhamdulillah, whatever we learn on this journey through the Quran, it is very helpful to us and for others as well if you go out and teach whatever we learn, especially the main points that we take from each session. And she has a particular focus on Islamic sciences. She is Ustada Madiha Mir, and she is very passionate about education in general, as well as promoting the true teachings of Islam to her community and beyond. We are very grateful to her that she has taken out her precious time. She is a very busy person, working and helping out in the household and teaching and other things as well. We are very grateful that she has taken out some of her precious time to come and assist us here in disseminating gems of wisdom from the Noble Quran and the Sunnah of the beloved Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Today she will be speaking on the rights of women, the rights of females as mentioned in the Quran. So I will just hand it over to her and she may start. Ustada, Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونسلم ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Jazakallah khair, sir, for the introduction, and Jazakallah khair to Minhaj al-Quran for giving me this opportunity. May Allah Ta'ala guide all of us to the straight path and protect us from worldly affairs. Today, something that I would like to talk about is something that is an event that occurs in everybody's lives, and for me is a very important aspect, and that is women's rights in Islam. Now, women's rights in today's day and age have come across very recently. Over the last 100 or so years, women have begun to get their rights. Islam, in the fundamental teachings of its religion and its jurisprudence, teaches gender equality, that man and woman are equal in their status. However, even though their statuses are equal, their differences are due to their rights. So I'd like to start with the ayah from Surah An-Nisa, verse 1, that translates as, O mankind, for your Lord who initiated your creation from a single soul, then from it created its mate, and from there these two spread the creation of countless men and women. So fear Allah for those whose sake you solicit need from one another, and become God-fearing towards your own kin and kin. as well. Allah is indeed ever watchful over you. In this verse, it states that women, man and woman, were created from a single entity, Hazrat Adam and Eve alayhi salam. And we are equal genders. No gender is superior to the other. Therefore, we should learn to coexist with mutual love, peace, and affection, as our religion teaches us. Another ayah that I'd like to state is from Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 2 to 8. And a divorced woman shall hold themselves back until 3 menstrual cycles, and it is not lawful for them to conceal what Allah may have created in their wombs, if they believe in Allah and in the last day. And during this period, their husbands have a greater right to take them back in conjunctional bond, provided they are inherited to reconcile. And according to usage, woman too has rights over men, similar to the rights of men over women. Men, however, have an advantage over them, and Allah is Almighty, Most Wise. This verse explains that, again, women and men are equal. However, they are different in terms of their rights and responsibilities to one another. This can be due to physical indifferences and natural process that Allah Almighty has created within every person. For example, for a woman, we have the natural process that a woman bears a child and gives birth to a child physically. In her body and her mind, she is a mother. Now, that is something that Allah Ta'ala has put inside a woman. For a man, it would be his strength and his strong mind to protect his wife and child and to provide for them. Not to say that a woman cannot do this. A woman can do this in today's society, but the nature of it is through that man is more tolerant to mundane matters in life. In today's society, women have begun to obtain rights just in the recent years, whereas Islam has taught us that women had rights over 1400 years ago. Islam has recognized women to be important and right-worthy. So much so that there is an entire chapter that Allah Ta'ala has dedicated in the Quran, which is the Surah An-Nisa, which means the chapter of the women. In her life, a woman comes across as many roles, such as a daughter, a mother, a wife. These are the main 3 capacities that a woman takes a role in her life. Now, a lot of the time when someone is talking about a woman and her rights, they will discuss her as a mother or a wife, but they do not put heed on that she is also a daughter before anything. So I would like to begin with discussing the roles of a woman as a daughter. Now, our Prophet ﷺ had 4 daughters. He was blessed with 4 daughters. Just as a son is a blessing for a parent, a daughter is also a mercy for the parents. Both are equally entitled to the love and affection that a mother or a father would give. The Prophet used to encourage affection towards his daughters. There's an hadith in Sunan Abu Dawud, Book of Al-Adab, chapter 42, Book of Al-Adab 42, chapter 131, hadith 5148, which states that Abdullah bin Abbas said to the Prophet ﷺ, whoever has a daughter who he does not bury alive, nor abuse, and not prefer his son over her, Allah will admit him to Jannah. It does not suit any parent to favor their son over their daughter, because they are unaware of which child of the 2 will be more beneficial for the parents. A daughter has the same right as a son to study and to choose her life partner, along with other things in life. There is no difference in this right. The next role that a daughter takes in her life is that of a wife. Now, becoming a life partner and a support for a man is a huge responsibility, and inshallah, everyone gets an opportunity to take on this role. I myself, alhamdulillah, am now married, and it is a blessing in disguise that for both the man and woman. As a wife, there are many examples of ill-treated practices of wives in the past, such as in the Arabian states. Men used to have multiple wives, so much so that if they wished to please one of their friends, they would send one of their wives there for a number of days to their abode. Typically, another custom would be that was practiced for men and women, was that if a woman's husband was to die before her, as a way of preserving self-honor, she would be required to burn with the body of her late husband. Now, this reason was due to people thinking that on the demise of a husband, a woman would be considered a consequence of sin. Thus, the widow would throw herself upon the body and the fire and therefore give her life. The widow is also an aspect that someone will see in their life. If she did this, she would be given extreme gratitude that she has given herself. However, if she did not complete this act of self-honor, she would be looked down with contempt, and she would be disallowed another marriage in her life, even if she were to be a young adult. This custom was mainly practiced in the South Asian area, and it was known as a custom called sati. In the days of Jahiliyyah, before the Prophet ﷺ brought our religion over, a wife was subjected to abuse, so much so that when Islam came around, Islam eradicated this practice along with many other practices to liberate and to declare that women are entitled to good treatment, as stated in Surah An-Nisa. This shows that a man should treat his wife as if he should want to be treated. And if you find that there are any actions that you dislike of your wife, do not immediately seek separation through ill content, because no one is free of them. If a wife has imperfections, then surely she has some qualities that one should look towards and tolerate her shortfalls, as she may do so also. Pray that you have righteous children from her, whom will make you successful in this world and in the Akhirah. The daughters have been given the right to choose their life partners, so much so that a marriage is invalid without the consent of the daughter. This is stated in Surah Baqarah, verse 232. Now, after the role of a wife, the next role that a woman takes up is that of a mother. The role of a mother is a very extremely blessed role in which a woman will realize what it is to become a mother. Now, there is so much emphasis on the role of a mother and her respect that she is given by right, as well as many others. Now, this is just some of the points I would like to bring across. At the time of Jahiliyyah, a woman was so aggressively inherited by her own son, together with the rest of the property, on the demise of her husband. If the son was a stepson, then he could opt to either marry his stepmother or marry her off to someone else, or he may compel her to remain as a widow for the rest of her life. Such brutality was then stamped out when the verse in Surah Nisa, ayah 19, was revealed. A point to think about prior to the time of Islam, that not only was a mother deprived of the inheritance rights, she was considered to be like an ovine and a husband's property and part of his estate. The role of a mother is so high that there is a hadith in in Sahih Bukhari, book of Al-Adab, chapter 2, hadith 6037, that stated that someone came to the Prophet ﷺ and asked, "Who is more deserving of the best treatment from myself?" The Prophet ﷺ said, "Your mother." Then the Sahaba asked, "Then who, Ya Rasulullah?" Rasulullah ﷺ said, "Your mother." Then the Sahaba asked, "Then who, Ya Rasulullah?" The Prophet ﷺ said, "Your mother." Finally, when he asked again, "Who then is worthy of the best treatment?" the Prophet ﷺ responded, "Your father." Now, this shows that the father is entitled to 25% of the good service in comparison to that of what the mother deserves, which is 75% of our good treatment, and that is her right. This is due to the fact that the father is unrelated to the pains that a mother bears during gestation and labor. There's another case of Sheikh Abu Ishaq. He said that a student of his came to him and asked him that, "In my dream last night, I saw you in paradise and your beard was with great diamonds and shining with jewels, which had a very beautiful and splendid shine." The Sheikh replied, "You have seen the truth. In actual fact, last night my mother was sick, and before going to sleep, I was gently pressing and massaging her feet, and my beard was touching her feet. The beautiful light you saw is a blessing on the mother's feet, because paradise lies under the feet of the mother." There are many hadiths to show the status of a mother, so much so that it is more great to serve a mother than to go into battle for a man, and the reward can be of that equivalent of completing Hajj and Umrah. Now, these points, obviously, we can give numerous hadith, Quranic ayahs to state the rights of a woman. Now, in terms of the qualities and rights of a daughter, a wife, and a mother are immense. There are multiple rights. Now, one right that also a daughter takes in her life is that of a wife, becoming a life support, as I mentioned previously. There are many practices that have been abolished from the Jahiliyyah time. And women have struggled in the past. The reason for this is no one recognized a woman to be of status or righteousness. However, Islam has provided this to us. In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there are also a case when a daughter was frowned upon on birth. And this is something that our deen teaches us, that a daughter is a blessing. And if a daughter is a blessing and a son, if a daughter is a mercy and a son is a blessing. We can learn a lot from that if we choose to do so. So that shows that a wife, a mother, the status that she has is immense. So much so that you cannot even comprehend the amount of a right that a mother has. Before Islam, the woman had no honorable status in society. A woman, as I mentioned, would be buried alive as a shame on the family. Some places they were burnt alive with the deceased of their husbands, as I mentioned. In order to understand the true status of a woman, we have to understand the three capacities that a woman is shown in. So again, a daughter, a wife, and a mother. These capacities, you can specify the rights that Islam has pronounced in a woman being different and respectable member of society. There is an ayah in Surah Nahl, verse 58 to 59, that states, "And when the news of the birth of a daughter is disclosed to any of them, his face turns to darkness, and he gets pent up with anger. He seeks to hide himself from people due to the pressured bad news that it is given to him. Whether he should keep her, despite humiliation and disgrace, or bury her alive in the earth. See how wicked is the decision that we make." So this was such a practice that the daughter was to be buried alive. Now, this practice has been eradicated since. There are still cases that we hear in the news multiple times that parents are neglecting their children. It may not be burying them alive, but neglecting to provide time to your child, neglecting to feed them in their infancy and causing them to pass is as bad as these barbaric customs in Arabia before the time of Islam. In today's society, this is something we should address, we should teach, we should discuss, so much so that we pull people to Islam and explain to them that the rights and the status of a woman or a child is so much that we cannot even begin to understand. A daughter is such a blessing, and I feel that in today's day and age, that is overlooked. People would prefer a son over a daughter. Even today, in a lot of places, be that here in the UK, someone who's abroad, people tend to still feel that a girl is not as high in their eyes as a son. But that is not true, because even our Prophet ﷺ shows that we should not differentiate between a boy and a girl. They are of equal rights as children of a parent. Now, in regards to that of a wife is there to support her husband. Now, that is an important role to play, to please the husband, as the husband is the one who will provide for her. Not to say a woman cannot provide for herself, she can. But a husband will be the one that if he is successful, the people will automatically think that he has a wife that has supported him, that has guided him and helped him to achieve such greatness. And I think in today's society, a lot of people feel that this is all to do with a man. Nothing has to do with the wife. But the wife has equal right, has equal amount of support provided to her husband in order to make him successful in this world and in the next. And one part of that is that of a child. Now, a child is not any more or any less a wife than a husband. They are equal in every aspect. The only way a child is different is in the case that when a husband has a right over his wife, the mother has more right over the son. And this is a way of life to show that although when you marry, your husband may have been given more right to have his mother have more right over him, but tomorrow when you have a son, you will have more right over your son than that of his wife to be. And I feel that a lot of people do not understand this, do not appreciate the way that this balance is created in the world. So much so that in today's day and age, you hear so many people speak that they have been separated from their son, or the son is not looking after his parents in old age. And I feel that this is a blessing, that we should be doing this. We should be looking after our parents in old age. We should be trying to repay them for the amount of sacrifices and the amount of patience they've had to endure with us. The amount of pain as well as sacrifices that our parents give for us as children, no matter how much we try to repay them in their old age, I don't think anyone would say that that is equivalent. So much so that a mother would stay up all night for a sick child to relieve him or to ease him of his pain when he is sick. Can we say that we would do the same as children of our parents? A lot of the time, people, when we grow up, we're very impatient, so impatient that when our parents reach old age and they aren't able to do things, they aren't able to, be as mobile as they once used to be, or maybe they may be stubborn, they may be not understanding as much as they used to be of situations, and we will just lash out at them. We will just say to them, no, it's not like this, it's like this, you must do this. Would our parents do that to us in our childhood? No. Our parents would be patient. Our parents would teach us to understand, to address the situation as it is. And I feel that today's day and age, we need to understand the rights of our parents, the rights of the mother, the rights of a daughter, the rights of a wife. And these things get brushed under the carpet, so to speak, to the extent that even with a wife, people feel that there's nothing there, it's just she's your wife. But it's not like that. The most important thing I would understand and state is that when a daughter is born into a household, she should be treated in a way that tomorrow, when she grows up, she can set an example for everybody else. And I feel that today's day and age, it is difficult, if not impossible, to do this. I wanted to speak about the women's rights in Islam because women are given rights, not to say they're not given rights or status. However, it isn't implemented, it's not emphasized enough to make people understand that a woman has as much equality as a man. There is another hadith that I had come across, of which, but there are many hadiths, I'm sure everyone knows. However, this one struck to me, that people who have the opportunity to serve their parents, to serve their mothers, are so blessed that they have been given this opportunity. As today's society, if you look at the way we live, it's such a busy life. People are working, people are doing so many things to achieve success in this world. But one thing that we neglect, one thing we don't think about, is that fine, we're making ourselves successful in this world, we're making our dunya in this world, but what about our hereafter? Our hereafter is set by the actions that we take in this world. And this is where our roles come in. As a daughter, to respect her parents, to give them good treatment, or a son even, to do that to their parents. That is when these roles come in. For a wife, it's for her to support her husband, to, you know, to be able to look after her husband. And as a mother, is to be able to nurture your children, to be able to bring them up as good Muslims and as good citizens of this world. I would say that, from, in generally speaking, a lot of people tend to speak about how it's a son's duty to look after a parent or a mother after they move on, get married, etc. But although obviously a daughter is naturally told, obviously she marries, she moves out, she goes to her husband's house, she still has a role to play as a daughter. Although she is a wife, she's also a daughter of that household. Now, a lot of people may say that, oh, a daughter-in-law is different to that of a daughter. Now, my response to that would be, you will only feel like the daughter-in-law if you yourself put yourself in that position. If you see your brother-in-law, your father-in-law as your own, you treat them right, you treat them the way that you would want your parents to be treated by tomorrow your brother's wife, then I assure you that will not be the case. Like I said, I, alhamdulillah, have been given the opportunity to become a wife. And alhamdulillah, I'm blessed to have amazing, an amazing mother-in-law, a father-in-law, whom I do treat as my own parents, because I would want that for my parents tomorrow when they are in old age. It's our responsibility to look after our parents just as much as they have done for us from our childhood. They provide for us, they looked after us, they fed us, they clothed us. And I feel nowadays a lot of children growing up forget this. They think that we just, we're just grown up. We grow up ourselves, you know. The government provide fundings, our parents take that funding and they give us what they need. That's not true. Tomorrow, I ask you, tomorrow when you become parents yourself, that is when you will realize the status and the rights of parents, because only then will you be able to experience and understand what it is that a parent goes through for their child. no one can understand a situation unless you have been put through that situation yourself. And this is a very true fact, that unless you are put in such a situation to be able to understand and comprehend what it is to be a parent, only then you'll be able to understand. Even with general cases, there are multiple situations where people will think that we, you may express to someone, oh, this happened to me, that happened to me. But then at the same time, you won't be able to understand that person's aspect of it until you face that trial or tribulation. And that is, it's the same as becoming a parent. For me, a status of a mother, I myself, obviously being married, I don't have the opportunity to serve my parents. I don't have the opportunity to serve my in-laws as they're not in this country. But I would say to anyone and everyone that has that opportunity, who are living with their parents, who are married and they have their in-laws with them, do not strain from supporting them. Do not strain from showing them love, affection, or appreciating them, because this is what will make our akhirah easier. This is what will gain us the reward to be able to be with them in Jannah. This is what will teach us to be better parents ourselves when we are tomorrow given that opportunity. I feel that we don't understand this, and we don't pay attention to it enough. I can't stress enough to people to tell you that a parent not being able to be with a parent, not being able to teach them, not being able to support them, help them, how much we should want to do that, how much reward is in that, how much we could learn from that. There are so many things a child can learn from a parent, and rightly so. They had so many experiences in life, from how they've grown up, from how they've fought trials and tribulations of bringing children up. Although you may think that your parents' time, when they had you, your brothers, your sisters, to when you will now be in that position is different. The atmosphere is different, the way things work is different. It is. When we were younger, we didn't have the luxury of, internet and things like that. And there wasn't so many fitnas out there that maybe our parents would have to protect us from. And in today's society, the fitness have increased, especially with the internet. There's no way of saying that there isn't. But the way our parents approach such a trial and tribulation, that is something that we can learn from, to understand that tomorrow when we have that opportunity, how are we going to overcome it? How are we going to teach our children right from wrong? And I feel that if we are not able to show our children tomorrow that we looked after our parents and we supported our parents when they needed it, then what is it to say that our kids will do the same to us tomorrow? I feel that we should understand this, and we should enlighten our community, our youngsters, and educate them to understand that parents are something that are so amazing that you will, when they're not here, that's when people realize that what we had, we've now lost. The ayah that I stated in Surah An-Nisa, ayah number 19, it states, "O believers, it is not lawful for you to become heirs to women by force, and do not retain them by force in order to take back from a portion of what you gave to them, unless they commit open indecency, and treat them honorably. If you dislike them, it may be that you dislike the thing, and Allah places it in abundant good. Now, this ayah shows that a woman may have imperfections, she may have faults, but we should overcome those and see the goodness in a woman. Now, when it's talking about her, what you gave her, this is referring to mahar, the dowry that a woman is given. Now, there is a thinking about this that people, even I have been asked this as well, that this is like a contract, she's being purchased. No, it's not like that. That mahar is there for the security of a woman, that God forbid, if something was to happen, then this is there as a security for her for tomorrow, that she may use that mahar to support herself, to support her family. And again, these things are overlooked. These things are not expressed enough or shared or understood to the extent that they should be. There is a hadith that I came across. Again, it's to do with in relations to a mother, which states that an individual was doing tawaf of the Kaaba, carrying his mother on his shoulders, and he asked the Prophet ﷺ, have I repaid the right of my mother? And the Prophet ﷺ said, never. This is not even equivalent to her time of cheerfulness. Now, as we grow up, when you're an adult, obviously carrying another adult's weight or carrying them around is not easy. People will complain. And to see this, that doing tawaf, if people are familiar, we do 8 circumambulations in the Holy Kaaba. And obviously you fulfill the other fundamentals of Umrah as well, or Hajj. And imagine doing that with someone over your shoulder and not have anything in terms of you are their support, basically. And to understand that, to do that for a parent, and in return it wouldn't even be as equivalent as 1 ounce of the happy times that they've spent. Now, this is so great, that there's no comparison. No matter how much we do, it would still be less to our parents. There's so much more that we should do for our parents, for our mothers. And I think we don't, and we should, in order to be able to repay them some of what they have been able to give us. So I would like to say that I would like to finish off with that hadith and state that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to live by these examples of our Prophet ﷺ and his companions. And may we have the opportunity and the privilege of being able to serve our parents and one day become parents too. And may we have the opportunity to guide our children and protect them from the worldly matters and guide them to the straight path, as this will be our true test. Sadaqallahu Mawlana al-Azim wa sadaqallahu wa rasuluhu anbiya'i wal mursaleen.